In today's video, we are going to talk about various glacial landforms and how they forms and their various erosional and depositional landforms. Well, when we talk about various erosional processes, the mechanisms are abrasion, plucking and polishing when it comes to glacial landforms. And normally a glacier is supposed to erode the rocks, transport the eroded materials and deposit the ended material at a suitable place, and that is how various depositional landforms form. Now let's talk about hanging valleys. Hanging valleys are basically with the same concept of that river valley. This is a very in-depth or broadened valley which is cutted by river previously, and then glacial flows from here. And if there are various other tributaries of those glacial or river flows towards this main valley, it basically feels like a hanging like structure over this main depth and broadened valley. So when valleys or tributaries of glaciers which join the main glacial valley from other sides or as a tributary valley, that is how hanging valley forms. Now moving on to the next one, there are various erosional landforms like cirques, coals and aretes and horns and turns. Let's talk about cirques first. It is basically shaped like armchair or steep wall depression representing a glacial valley head is a very common thing for shark. Now how does it forms? It used to be a concave basin which was further eroded by various glacial formation, and it became like this. It creates a basin-like structure, and it is known in various names in various places like Kar in Germany, Corie in Scotland, Botten in Norway. So these are the cirques. Now let's talk about coals, aretes and horns. A narrow ridge of rock which separates two valleys called aretes. Now this is a ridge-like structure which separates these two different leeward and steep slope is called aretes. What is coal? Coal is basically the gap formed due to cutting of head walls because the intersection of two steep-sided cirques is called coal. So these are the coal. And what is a horn? It is basically the pyramidal or triangular facet peak formed, as you can see in the picture, due to recession and intersection of three or more cirques. Now let's talk about tar. It is a rock basin which forms due to erosional consequent upon greater thickness of ice mass and its enormous pressure. After deglaciation, this rock basin is filled up with water and thus forms a small glacial lake, as you can see in the picture. And this is what called turn. These are the turn. And furthermore, to specify the knowledge of horn and arete, this peak is called horn and this ridge-like structure is arete, and these are the sharks which is forms as armchair-like structure. Moving on to the next erosional landform, which is crag and tail. A peculiar landforms having vertical eroded steep up glacial side and tail-like appearance, as you can see over here. This is a tail-like appearance with lower height down glacial side is called crag and tail. So this part is called crag and this is the tail. So this happens when a volcanic plugs offer resistance in the flow direction of an ice. Now this is a hard rock on the flow direction of an ice. If ice flowing from this side, now this kind of formation happens. The other side being sheltered by the glacial ice becomes elongated with gentle slope and appears like a tail. As you can see in the picture, this is a real life crag and tail picture. Now let's talk about Rossum. These are basically asymmetrical hillocks, mounds or hills which have one side very smoothly molded gentle slope and another side will be a very steep or leeward slope. Now, other than this erosional land features, there are various others such as glacial stairways. As the name suggests, it looks like a stair. And then glacial grooves. These are basically small scale streamlined depressions. Another erosional feature is pattern star lakes. This is basically the smaller depressions are found in the bases of cliffs. Now let's talk about various depositional features. Now, depositional features, mainly these are rock debris carried by the glaciers, are collectively called as glacial drifts. Sometimes the term moraine is used for the debris transported by the glacier. Moraines are this ridge-like, as you can see, this ridge-like depositional features of glacial tilts. They are long but narrow ridges with height more than 30 meters. Now let's talk about drumlin. Basically, the swarms of rounded hammock resulting from the deposition of glacial tilts are called drumlins. The drumlin forms due to deposition of glacial tilts or the boulder clay below the ice under special circumstances. They look like an inverted boat or spoon. It is also known as a basket of egg topography. Now, these were the various glacial, depositional and erosional landforms. And if you find this video informative, then please like and subscribe. Thank you.